going out for your run can be, is that you can take that opportunity to see that the love tap is there, something's calling you. Like you
Mm,
said about your desire to start a podcast. So you kept getting the little like, go, go, Lisa, you have this in you, and even the ancestral stuff,
mm.
it's like incredible.
Yeah, it's
And you have
beautiful.
to answer the call because I think
Yes.
we are all unique individuals. And I always would say when, we lost a guest maybe at Mary's place, I would say there are twinkle stars in the sky. Now, please give me guidance.
Mm,
Just like my mom, just like, when you're going through something and you're like, okay, you take a walk down the street and you look down, you go, oh, look down, there's a penny. You're like, okay, pennies from heaven. Thanks, mom. Like we need those little, and I think with anything life, it does, if we are open to the signs that are there.
yes. Hey there, are you grieving the potential loss of a loved one or feeling overwhelmed with the loss of someone you care about? If so, you're in the right place. Lisa Hartung here, and this podcast is designed to guide you through topics surrounding death and dying. We'll dive into multifaceted aspects of grief, offering you a blend of personal stories, expert insights, and practical advice for your grief journey. May this be a safe space for you to learn, listen, and ask questions about your own life and loved ones. So grab your favorite beverage and let's dive in. Welcome to the podcast, everyone. So excited to be here. So excited for our guest today. Maria McKeon is here with us. She is a well-being coach, fitness guru, and I'm excited to chat with her today because she has extensive experience working with oncology patients and looking at, we're not our diagnosis or our prognosis, but we're actually like, this is a holistic picture. And so I love the way that Maria approaches life and living and finding the joy in each day. And so, Maria, thank you so much for being with us today.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks, Lisa, for inviting me. I'm thrilled to be here.
Yay!
Yeah.
You have been such an inspiration to me,
Mm.
and I thought maybe we could start out by you telling the audience a little bit about your journey and how you kind of came into the oncology space, and then kind
Sure.
of how it's transformed since you've
Sure.
been in that field, and now
Yeah.
you're helping everyone, not just oncology patients.
Right. Well, first of all, I think I started in the fitness as an 18-year-old woman looking for a part-time job. And I started at it was called Elaine Powers, and I became a power size girl. So I was in fitness. I was very encouraged to take care of my body, and I wanted to have it for a long time. And I knew one way, and that was really just identifying and working on your physical body. I was never really an overweight person, but I also knew that what you ate affected you.
Mm.
And so it started early on in terms of knowing that the physical body, you have to have it for a long time, and how can you manage and take care of it? Like, and it is our wealth. And I learned that at now 63 years old, which I'm like, yay, I made it here. And
You look
for
fabulous, by the
healthy,
way.
oh, thank you, for adult children. And there was a time in my life, as most women probably experience eating disorders, hands up, here she was.
Yeah.
So that was a really challenging time, but also therapy, knowing you can physically change, dealing with what was underlying in those issues, helped to empower me and support me and make me resilient to then help other people.
Wow.
So I
Wow.
helped people at 18 to 25, doing support groups for a national organization called the Anorexia and Bulimia Association, and going out and speaking on behalf of women that have recovered.
Hmm.
Because it is, as you probably might be dating myself, or you might know, Karen Carpenter died as a musician. And
Mm.
there are many women that die, and there are many women that today are diagnosed with that,
Mm.
that have a lifelong experience of
Mm.
eating situations, and I think that the journey of health and wellness has always been, laying in on us. My degree is in special education and psychology, and I did teach in the special ed area of it's called Bancroft School. So I was working there, and always had that side hustle of working in fitness, and that was my joy, my real joy, because you can see changes in yourself and others that you were. And again, like how we met, made to do this music, Kathy Heller,
Mm-hmm.
it was inspired by music again with her, and hear how healing that modality is.
Yeah.
And I've used it throughout, whether it's in a fitness class, how beneficial it is. And now it's like kind of almost considered sound healing,
Mhm.
really,
Yeah.
and it changes the energy, your vibration. So, those things really were in alignment to, really what I now call Maria McKeon wellness, because we all get the love taps on the shoulder. And I was in the gym. I have four young kids, and I meet a woman in the bathroom that decides, "Hey, I would love to meet the people that you have met. Would you come with me?" I had this vision of helping women with cancer, and that really started, Mary's Place by the Sea, where we helped and supported women in a retreat type setting. We grew it from a little B&B, renting rooms, to then another single home, and then to our own home. That was extremely challenging. It was challenging in the sense that put your life on the line for a lot of things. And I would never change it for an instant. The amount of people, like you said, in podcasting you that you meet, the amount of people that we met during those years, and then the people that came there,
Yeah.
and knowing that you have made a little trickle in their experience,
Mhm.
and that you gave them an opportunity to pause and breathe, create a community that they can gather together and learn some inspiring information, whether it's nutrition, whether it's maybe getting a massage, learning about Reiki, learning different modalities that they didn't learn through their doctor,
Mhm.
and is life changing. It's something that you pull from all the time, because again, I have today. How am I going to live my day today? Because I'm graced with today.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it makes you, as you're little kids, they're your world and you're taking care of them.
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, if we don't learn how to pause and take care of oneself,
Mm-hmm.
then, there does come that disconnect. And, we need to still learn how to put that oxygen mask on.
Yeah, and fill our own cups up.
Hmm.
And for our
Absolutely.
listeners who might not know what
Hmm.
Mary's Place by the Sea is,
Hmm.
it's a nonprofit in New Jersey. While you have grown and spread your wings, it is
Hmm.
still an organization that's
Yes.
ongoing for women who have cancer.
Yes.
And so we can link that in the show notes.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
the idea is whole mind, body, spirit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And
Yeah, and it's a beautiful segue into really tapping into our own responsibility and accountability for how we want to, what we consider wealth and what we consider health
hmm
for ourselves. And, if you do not have your health, then you will not have much wealth, because it's expensive to stay healthy.
yeah,
It can be.
I always talk about this with my dad after going through the
Cancer.
loss of my mom of like,
Hmm.
my dad's dad is 96. So my grandpa's 96 and
Hmm.
he doesn't take any medication and he walks every day and he goes to McDonald's for lunch every day because it's a community, right?
Yes.
Those
Yes.
three-piece senior McNuggets probably aren't good for him, but
No, but
but the
still,
social
hey,
interaction is so
100%,
important, right?
a hundred
It's getting him
percent.
up, getting him out, and so I think that that's
being old is great if you are
Absolutely.
healthy, right?
Correct.
Because no one wants to be decrepit, right? At any
No,
age.
no.
But
And what you said, 96, and that community, I too just lost my father-in-law. He was
mm,
December 10th. He was 96.
wow.
And he had community where he lived. He
Yep.
lived separately, independent. He
Yep.
also had love. He had a girlfriend that he had met, that they were a companion. They did things together. They
Hmm.
still socialized with other people.
Hmm.
And, the isolation, the loneliness in one's life is just as painful and just as diminishing of your life and your energy force.
I'm so glad that you said that because
Hmm.
I see that a lot with people who I work with who are grieving.
Hmm.
When sometimes, a automatic grief response is just to isolate, and
Absolutely.
it can actually be more detrimental to your health than to reach
Hmm.
out to community, even if it's just one person, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I've had that in my own. Uh, my sister lost her husband. It'll be 2 years, and he was just 59 years old,
Wow.
and she was 55. And so, in 1 month in May, 2 years ago, she became a widow, a grandmother.
Oh,
And you're like, and then we had just lost our dad that, March.
oh,
So I know grief. And then I was out last night to dinner with a good friend of mine, that my running partner for the Marine Corps Marathon was passed away like
oh
two
my
years ago as well.
God. Oh.
And he had hardening of the lungs. And so I was out with his wife yesterday, who she's that type of person. If you don't pull her out, she will stay in. The
Mhm.
artist, you just, so that about people. And I said to her last night, I'm forever grateful for our friendship, because we met at a Catholic school when our kids were in school, and my youngest is best friends with her second oldest. And she's the friend that you could pick up the phone. She's the friend you can go to. You know that she's going to drop it, drop whatever she's doing to come to help you. Why wouldn't I do that to this person? And I'm there. Like, you appreciate these qualities in people, and you appreciate that life is short, and it's just a blessing.
Yeah, it's um,
Hmm.
yeah, it comes down to right at the end of your life, what you think
Hmm.
back and what do you think
Yes.
of? You think of the relationships. You don't think of the jobs. You think of the
Hmm.
relationships, the experiences, the people that you've shared this time with.
Exactly.
So I love that. So thinking about your work with Mary's Place by the Sea,
Hmm.
and then thinking how you've expanded your own work and now are on your own, working in a couple different areas to
Yes.
really help people. Perhaps you're not solely in oncology now, working with women who have cancer, but with all people. But thinking about, all right,
Hmm.
we get this nudge on the shoulder,
Hmm.
right? How do we
Yes.
be the CEO of our own health? I think that's a tagline
Yes.
of
I love
yours,
that.
which I love.
Yes.
I wish there were more Marias
Oh.
because this is such integral part of our well-being, right? It's
Hmm.
not just the
Hmm.
medical, but it's all.
No.
And
Right.
so, how do we get to, or how do we tap into that energy or that mindset earlier? We always can start where we are. And
Correct.
so when you're working with people, what do you find is like the hardest thing, or I guess what we were talking about earlier is pausing, right? We
Yes.
live in this like crazy busy world, and we always feel like we have to be busy. Like if you go to the
Yeah.
bathroom, we'll bring your phone with you because you can type
Yes.
out an email, or
Multitask.
like if
Absolutely.
you're brushing your teeth,
Absolutely.
well, do some squats at the same time.
Yes. Right.
So,
Right. Or do a balancing pose. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think some of that is good, but
Absolutely.
we just love your thoughts on like, oh gosh, how do we really enjoy each day and celebrate our health in really meaningful ways, right? Or think about our health.
It's an active choice.
Hmm.
And I would say, instead of, I want a person that's going to work with me as a coach, that's
Mm.
going to be committed to, because they're going to help me as well as me giving them information. Like, I can give you the diet, which I don't use that word diet, it's a lifestyle. And you have to start, if you want to run, you got to start to walk and you
Mhm.
have to increase that walk. And then you can do that next. Maybe it's a 5K goal, but it's the accountability every single day. It's just like getting up and, noticing like how you get up out of your bed is
Yeah.
one way.
Yeah.
Stepping into your day. Even before you get out of your bed, do you set an intention for your day? I do. I say gratitude, 3 things I'm grateful for, and what's on my plate today. Let it
Mm.
be ease. Um, I will say kindness, Maria. There's sunshine. And if it's raining, it's just weather. And then make your bed, drink that water with lemon or not lemon. Do your little things that contribute to the health that you want to achieve every day.
Mm.
Because no one, like, I want to be like your grandfather, no medication. Me, no medication. It's a mindset to me. Like when I'll go into a doctor's office, they'll be like, well, what are you on? I'm like, nothing.
Mhm.
Why do we project that self-fulfilling prophecy that we need to have? And a pill. I
Mhm.
don't, if you need it, that's okay. But it's also, I'm trying to do everything that I can in terms of prevention so I don't have that.
Yeah.
So I'm drinking, like you said, the company that you're working for, clean water. It
Mhm.
starts with my clean water. Where do I get my water? Um, what food and what nourishment do I put in my body? And the quality of that nourishment to the best of my ability. And that client, the same thing, the best of your ability. How can we add in more nutrient dense foods and take out some of those things that we know now, because it's all over social media, is not good for you? And I've told you, but you didn't hear me. Now you do, believe me.
But if you
you
saw it on
know,
TikTok, it was
but
true, right?
exactly, exactly.
So,
And I just have to say those things to them and it just add, smaller steps. We are the people that we surround ourselves with.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And if you want to be, and it's uncomfortable to be in fear when you get a diagnosis, how do you then navigate?
Right.
So I'm attempting with each person that I work with to look at the lifestyle, look at your mindset. Where have you been? Where do you want to go? But it's what can we do today? And there's always something,
Mm-hmm.
for that person that doesn't believe, we need to get outside. You need to have that vitamin D from the sun and how beneficial. If you're feeling a little blue and you're in front of a computer, maybe put blue blockers on. Maybe turn it off at night.
Yes.
Maybe don't take your phone to your home into your bedroom because it's not good for you. There's
Mm-hmm.
possible radiation.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's all these, like, I look at them as like little love taps and little wisdom nuggets that
Yeah.
they can then research themselves. But I believe, and your own self, I've never, in fact, I said this morning in my class, you're your best advocate. You know your body best.
Yeah.
So please honor your body. I'm not inside to go, oh, what hurts now?
Mm.
I'm not in your body to know, did you drink water? You're kind of tight. What's going on? Like, did you not sleep? There's so much that goes into our health. And it's not one thing, it's multiple things, and we might need a coach in all different areas.
Yeah.
You might need to, I will say that I remember a guest specifically saying to me, Maria, I think my breast cancer came from because for 17 years I had a cell phone taped on my breast. That's where the tumor was.
Wow.
And no doctor said anything to her. And that's what she said. And I said,
Isn't that
I
incredible?
believe that. I believe that.
Yeah.
And there are things that we can take to heart and go, uh-huh. And another person said to me, they work for me, the doctor. So if I
Absolutely.
don't like how they're treating me, I'm leaving and
I
I'll find another doctor.
yes,
And
and
I didn't grow up with that. They were the God. They were the coat. They
mhm,
had the knowledge. I did not. And I was like, oh, that's the way I parented my kids, with the right doctor that was in alignment to what I thought with my kids and treated them like and me.
mhm.
So why would I don't, it's the same thing.
Yeah, and I think I grew up with that too, and mom had that mindset, and
Mhm.
she also was like a very follow the rules. So the doctor said,
Yes.
you have 12 months. She died almost to the day of those 12 months. She was like following the rules. Like,
Right.
and
Right.
I love the idea
Right.
of saying, no, you work for me, right? And so for
Yes.
people who who receive the diagnosis, or for caregivers, right, who are trying to
Yes.
advocate, I think that was one really big takeaway from our family cancer
Hmm.
journey
Hmm.
was you have to be resourceful and
Absolutely.
like reach out to maybe get a second opinion or a third
100.
opinion.
Yes.
And um, so
Hmm.
when you are working with a guest, that maybe they're following their medical regimen, but they're looking for more of the
Hmm.
alternative holistic regimen,
Hmm.
what might you suggest of like,
Well, a couple of things. A person that I've always suggested, and still I do mentoring for him, and it's free and it's online at his name is Chris Wark, and it's WARK, Crispy Cancer. And on Chris's website, he has 20 questions, which I've said to many people. Please look at those 20 questions,
mm,
download them, and ask the doctor. Because for myself, I know when I'm in overwhelm or nerves, going into a doctor's office, there's that sense of intimidation and I can't, and angst. So if
mhm,
I have those questions, then I might ask him or her, and then I have clarity, and then also to make sure that I bring someone or I
mhm,
tape it so that I can listen to, okay, he said this. And I also believe that unfortunately our medical doctors were not given how to treat a patient with compassion and have that conversation and communication. And then, I have a friend now that has glioblastoma, and
mm,
the way they told her the same thing, 12 months, and the way they said it was over the phone or it was
oh,
an email. So that kind of thing is not acceptable to me.
mhm. Yeah,
And
that big
if it
time.
was my family member, I'd say, sorry, he's not he's not getting your business.
Mm,
And we have to take back, which rude, unfortunately, it is a business.
yeah.
And I never looked at medical as business, but it's a business.
Hmm.
And cancer is a multi-million-dollar business. Realizing that, if I get healthy, I'm taken away from that business. And I really feel that we as a society um, can do that. We can heal, taking a lot of things out of our physical world and what we ingest,
Hmm.
dealing with the traumas, because I believe the emotional burdens contribute to our disease.
Oh, I think 100%.
And just like you said about your mom, I can so relate, the good girl, follow the rules, do that. Well, what happens if I break the rules? Oh, I can't break the rules. No.
Yeah.
And that's traumatic in itself, kind of feeling that and unwinding, and we know about the somatic training and the breath work. That is powerful work,
Oh my gosh. Yes.
healing in itself.
Hmm.
I've seen, doing Reiki on people and doing body work, phenomenal. To that person, if they're interested, I give them my own feelings.
Hmm.
And then I will also, what I would do and what I have done. And then I give lots of resources. I've had many people say to me, the doctor told me not to look online, not to do this research. Well, you know what? I'm sorry. I disagree. I would be looking at people, and I will tell you this, the beautiful thing about Chris Wark is he's interviewed so many people that have had healed themselves from all different types of cancer. I need inspiration and testimonials just to go, I can do that too. Oh, maybe if I did this or that, pearls that I might not know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the longest living people from multiple myeloma, pancreatic cancer, all these things. And I've learned that and this is also documented, most people don't die of their disease, they die of malnutrition.
Mm, yeah.
And you go in and it's it's really, and also looking at your lifestyle and the traumas that have been in your life. In the past, they contribute to the way we process today,
hmm I think
and healing it all.
a lot of illness, right, and dis-ease is a
Yes,
result of how our body and our minds are experiencing past traumas or difficulties.
exactly. And I always say there's I in illness and there's we in wellness.
Mm.
So the we to me it's more of a collective community helping. And I think as women,
Mm-hmm.
it's very challenging to ask for help
Yeah.
because we're almost conditioned. Oh, I got it. I can
Yeah.
do it all. And then
Mm-hmm.
you're like, oh, no, no, no. No, it's a gift. And I've said this to many people. It's a gift for me to volunteer my time to help you and to go to the store, do this. It makes me feel good. And I know I'm helping you. So
Mm-hmm.
please let me do that. But, and we need to learn how to receive. Women are like, Kathy was talking about it in our classes, we are the receiver, you know?
Yeah, and I think it's also for people who have an illness and who need help, it's
Hmm.
like, oh, I don't want to burden other people,
Correct.
but other people want to help. They just need to be directed, right? And you just need to be really specific
Yeah.
in what exactly you need. And sometimes coming to that conclusion is also really hard as a caregiver or as a patient to.
True. But I think the world's so busy, so that's why
Mm,
the mindfulness, that's why those calming modalities like yoga, Pilates,
mm,
breathing techniques help you because then you have more clarity and understanding
mhm.
and you can unwind the tape
Yeah.
and see yourself in that tape. Like I have often said, you're on the hamster wheel of life and it got jarred and made you stop and you're like, you can't breathe.
Hmm.
So you're in fear and anxiety, you can't breathe.
Yeah.
And then you're like looking all around, who's going to help you? But we are also taught to like, who's going to save me?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right. Was the
Or is it
doctor
you?
going
Is it
to?
you looking outside of ourselves when really it's really, you'll know intuitively who to trust. And
Mm,
like you said, it touched my heart when you said it's a safe haven where what you're creating.
mm,
And a safe haven is sometimes to someone, I know to me, just hearing that um, brings tears in my eyes because who doesn't want to feel safe and loved?
yeah. Yeah.
And truly, love is what heals us all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And, I think
Hmm.
to people who have experienced near-death experiences,
Hmm.
and they
Hmm.
talk about this undeniable love, right? Or this
Yes.
all-encompassing love that comes over them.
Yes.
And so it makes death not as scary, I think, hearing those
Correct.
that the love
Correct.
comes in. But I
Right.
love, right, that you said it is love that we're all, the more love that we can share with one another and receive,
Hmm.
right?
Well,
Um,
it's an action step too.
mhm.
It's love is action oriented, and I believe that we have to love ourselves.
Yes.
And you think that's an easy to do. It can be challenging to do.
I think it's very challenging for many people.
Oh,
And
yes. Yes.
I always think about your best quality and how you can really cherish that.
Mm.
because there's some glowing part of each person, and sometimes it just
Hmm.
gets lost. And I
Exactly.
think when you're diagnosed with a terminal illness, it can be so overwhelming and so scary. So
Hmm.
thinking about gratitude, I like that you said,
Hmm.
you know, you wake up every day and you think about three things you're grateful for, right? Continuing to celebrate the
Hmm.
gratitude.
And
I
it's
also,
simple. Try to make life can be so complicated. Just the
mm,
simple things, making sure I drink more water,
mhm,
making sure I get outside, making sure I move my body in some way, shape or form,
mhm.
and again, asking for help,
Yeah, it's
creating
okay.
a community. And I think the uncertainty can be paralyzing.
Hmm.
And in anything, whether it's going to have your next baby, it
Yeah.
can be, and you have to, you notice, you're aware, because we don't have the rule book,
Hmm.
and
Making it
if
up
you,
as we go.
and exactly, and would you, and I often will say, would I have read the book fully from cover to cover? Like, I don't know, or I would have went the cliff notes, or I might have tweaked it. So I think, but I do know that if you do not breathe and know that this too shall pass or keep moving forward,
Mm,
it's just like the ripple effect. I think that life, if you are graced to live old enough, you're going to go through the peaks and the valleys,
yeah, and
and
that's
you're going to, come through the storm and learn more things, how maybe to navigate the next one.
hmm.
And it's the age wisdom, the sage, you think it is the.
And I think it's really interesting too in the aged wisdom and the
Hmm.
experiences and the
Hmm.
people you meet. You never know who you're going to meet, right? And
No,
who maybe that one person that was a complete stranger is going to change your life, right?
exactly.
And you could have been in the doctor's office in the waiting room and just been like, "Oh, I like your handbag," or like,
Correct.
"Cute
Right.
glasses."
Right.
And then,
Right.
they're become your cheerleader through the treatment.
Hmm. Hmm.
It's
Yes,
it's the little joys about that.
exactly. And then there's also people that, like, Chris Work and many other people that chose not to do that traditional treatment and did something else
Hmm.
and are alive and well
Hmm.
and aren't given enough, I don't want to say glory, but aren't given enough opportunities that you can do this way as well.
Right. Like it's not just a
Mhm.
one-stop shop. And I think that that's
Correct.
something really important for listeners to
Hmm.
hear is that there are alternatives. And
Hmm.
and each individual has their choice, right? It's
Yes.
not, you don't have to do X, Y, and Z, right? We
Correct.
have we
Correct.
have modern medicine, which is incredible, and
Correct.
we also have alternative holistic healing as well.
And
And
different.
maybe it's a little bit of both, right?
Well,
Or
I think I agree, but I do think that whatever path you choose, nutrition is incredible.
mm-hmm,
And, there's many places like Hippocrates Health Institute with Brian Clement, and he has that in Boca Raton, Florida.
mm-hmm,
And that's an amazing opportunity for one to get different modalities, foods, juicing, different way of being exercise, physical classes, also mental. You do spiritual detoxification programs and things like that. And then there's, different approaches from Gary Knoll and people that I've utilized a lot of their products. There's a man, his name is Dr. Richard Schultz, and he has a clinic in California, and that was actually closed down, but he is alive and well and
mm,
has helped himself because he really should be not here. And
really,
his work, yeah, he's mid 70s, and he's helped so many people. I still, in fact, use his detoxification and tinctures and things like that, and he has superfoods. So there's definite, you have to kind of put on that different goggle,
yeah,
and go, oh, I'm trying to do this. And fortunately, there's a lot of people like myself, and I do have other people that I refer all the time to that can help and
mm-hmm,
support you, or that walking testament of like, oh, try this. And the thing I would want to preface to the listener is start today, because like I've been doing, we do an easy, energy balancing and breathing technique I've done for probably 20 years. And now they've proven just doing that, because it's your meridians from your hands and it brings all the energy up to the brain. So it's almost like an x-ray bringing more oxygen to the brain. So now, like with Joe Dispenza,
Mhm.
different practices, and then maybe adding a mantra, maybe adding a visualization, because I'm a visual learner,
Mhm.
has helped to contribute those different, like, kind of hacks that have now proven to show, oh, because we need to decrease the plaque in your brain. Then I add more antioxidant foods, I add, juices throughout the day.
Yeah.
You keep like with your children, my kids never didn't have broccoli or a green.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And I always kept adding, adding things that nutrients. I made the food, because I didn't want to have the ingredients of stuff, so you can do it. It's a matter of really wanting to do it. And some
Mhm.
people are just get so overwhelmed because they've never done it.
Yeah,
So
and they
it's
might not know where to start.
exactly. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, that's one of the ways, is like what we talked about with water, the quality of water. And most people don't realize they're still drinking water out of, a plastic bottle
Hmm.
that's been in the all the plastics that have infused in that water, and then they don't feel hydrated, and then what happened, all the chemicals that were in that, it can be endless, but
Yeah.
it's like you open up the can of worms and you're like, oh no, where do I start? Well, start small
Start small.
and
Yeah.
just realize you can do it.
Hmm.
you know
Yeah. And I think one important thing is you're not just talking the talk, you've also walked the walk, and you've seen other people benefit significantly from this.
Correct.
Right. So
Correct.
I don't know if that means, elongating their life, their quality of life
Hmm.
when they have this cancer diagnosis, or if it's just improving their normal lives
Hmm.
so
Hmm.
that they feel better on a daily basis.
Exactly. And that's the beautiful thing about community, that we found with, like, the ladies that met at Mary's Place that stayed consistently together. That was beneficial.
Mm-hmm.
And they can help inspire each other.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, there are some people that have left, physically their body has left. And that's, out of our control.
Yeah.
But you did the best that you could do, giving them service and taking care of them to the best of their ability at that point. And they too are doing their work on themselves to
Mm-hmm.
encourage, their life, you know.
Yeah. And I think they're gone in their physical form, but
Oh yeah,
never.
absolutely. Yeah, well, that's the alignment of the energy. Everybody's here. We're all energy beings.
Mm-hmm. Sharing our light with one another. You said this
Correct.
before we started recording, but I really liked it. Is you said that we're helping each other walk each other home,
Hmm.
and
Yes.
again, right? It comes to
Hmm.
community and walking with one another through all the ups and downs of life.
Right. And not being honoring the grieving process for every person, and it's different for every person.
Right.
And knowing that that has been kind of pushed aside because we've been uncomfortable with grief.
Mm-hmm.
And I look at, you can go through a phase, like you're all of a sudden, like I said before, I'm walking down the street and I didn't realize, oh, something reminded me of my mom. Even last night at dinner with my girlfriend, there were plates and they gave us the plates and they had birds on the plates. I had the one plate, and then I handed it to her, and the other one was a cardinal, and another one. I go, well, that's like you and Terry, because Terry would be here having fun with us. So we, that was a sign to both of us. We looked at each other, and we pass on, but we are still here, and become surreal, as you, I'm sure,
Yeah.
know, like all those signs that
All the
happen.
signs.
Yeah. But, and then this is one of the things I've said, health is loving ourselves unconditionally as we are, whole, simultaneously doing the work to continue growing and expanding. Health is checking on our energy, caring, protecting, and releasing as needed. And health is having the capacity to recognize our patterns, cycles, and beliefs, and letting go of love of those that no longer serve us.
Mm, wow. What a beautiful way to close us out. Thank you so much, Maria.
You're welcome.
Oh, what a gift. What a gift.
Same.
Thank you so much for your time today and for
Thank
sharing your
you.
wisdom. I would love if any of our listeners want to communicate with you or work with you. I love that you have an online platform, so
I
it's no
do.
boundaries, which is great.
No. Yes.
So maybe you could share how we can find you.
Mhm. Sure. It's mariamckeon.net, and I offer yoga 3 days a week, virtually through Zoom. And then I also do in-person classes. I also do lectures and retreats wherever you want to take me. I will be there as your yogi, as your wellness coach, well-being, and I'm also on Instagram at its_Maria McKeon,
Great. And
and
that's
also on Facebook too. So
MCKEO.
EON, yes.
Yes. Oh,
Yes, and I look forward to, I often say, meeting me on your mat, because that too is home. That's where I've learned to calm my nervous system.
mm,
I've learned to find that peace. And like you said, going out for the run, it's the same kind of experience. And
mhm,
having more of those in your wheelhouse for you, because life is really chaotic, and then we want to, and the world wants us to be pulled out.
mhm,
So if you can take a moment to find some silence and listen to the birds, just listen to your own inner wisdom, it will speak to you. It really will.
mhm,
And you'll know the right path to go on if you're questioning which doctor to go and talk to, what you should do next. I
mhm,
think the silence and tuning back into the breath will guide you.
mhm. And our loved ones will give us, will give
Absolutely.
us a little nudge.
Absolutely.
You never know where that will come in. So,
No, no,
oh,
you're not.
well, thank you again. This
Oh,
has
you're
been
welcome.
so
You're
fruitful, and
welcome.
my cup is full.
Same.
So,
Oh, thank you.
I appreciate
Namaste. Same
it.
with me. That's
Namaste.
great.
Thanks so much for listening to this week's episode of Giving Grief Grace. If you found the content interesting and think it could help a friend or a loved one, please share it with them. Subscribe to this podcast and get a weekly dose of positivity. And while you're at it, please leave a review. If you enjoyed the show and want to support me financially on my grief journey, I'm raising funds for Project Purple, a nonprofit whose mission is to see a world without pancreatic cancer. I'm doing this by running the New York City Marathon in November 2025, and I'll leave a link to my fundraising page in the show notes. If you've lost a loved one and are looking for support in an online community, consider joining our free private Facebook group, Giving Grief Grace. May you be kind to yourself in the week ahead and give yourself grace. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you next week.